Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to make money in the market or to just learn from the market, right? But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And guess what, y'all? The stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at the VIX, right? And it looks as if it too has created a gathering spot for us. And it seems like the support area is at 1523 and the resistance is at 1542, which is we're under the 5 EMA on this 30-minute chart and the 20 EMA. So I will watch this level of support at 1523. If we break through that level, then we could continue to the downside and it wouldn't surprise me, which is kind of right there looking at it on the 4-hour. We've been at that 20 EMA at 1525. So we're right there at that 200 EMA on this 4-hour chart. If we break this level, we can come back down and retest this 1492, but I would definitely watch that 1523 or 1525 for the VIX if, just to see where we are. And right now, let's say it decides to, find support here and go back to the upside. Our resistance was at the 1542. We have another trouble place at 1552 and 1560, which is our 50 EMA in the ATR trailing stop. I need to get my words right this morning, right? So those are trouble places for the VIX, right? So now let's look at the SPY, because normally when the VIX is down, the SPY is up, and when the VIX is up, the SPY is down. So today the SPY closed at 508.26, so we are up a little pre-market. Let's say that, not a whole lot, but a little. And right now, I always like to go to our 4 o'clock candle and see, where we are in reference to support and resistance. And this has been our area here, which it seems as if it was right at support of the 509.20 as support. And let me get that off. 509.20 range here as our support area and 509.86 as our resistance area, looking at it on this 30-minute chart, which puts us above the 5 EMA and the 20 EMA. My concern is this drop down when we came down and tested this low here of 508.82, which is kind of close to that 50 EMA, 508.86. So we need to, I would say, be careful, trade carefully. It looks as if it wants to go to the upside, and looking at the VIX, that explains why. But just keep in mind, we're going to have trouble at the 509.86 range for the SPY. If it breaks that level, then our next level of resistance, I had the 510.25 mark before as a strong level of resistance, and it looks like we're trying to approach that level now. That was 510.25, and then I had 511.17 as an area of resistance for the SPY. And we're right there at, looking at this 4-hour, we are right there at the 200 EMA at the 508.93. That is our support right now. So anything above the 508.93 could very well continue us to the upside. Now to the downside, if by chance the SPY decides to come down under this level of 509.20, around the 509.21, again the 508.86 is our support, and that's the 50 EMA. We have the ATR trailing stop at the 508.41, which is right at another level of support that I had marked at 508.46. So those levels to the downside, I will definitely be careful of. If by chance we break the 508.41, we can come back down to the 505.98. And I always say anything is possible in the market. Allow the charts to, lead you and guide you as to what it wants to do, and make sure you have confirmations as to why you're entering your trades. That's very, very important. So looking at the SPY right now, it looks like it wants to go up. We're above the 5 EMA. It looks like it want to continue, but trade what you see. I say that often, right? Let's look at Tesla, y'all. Tesla is interesting, right? Tesla closed at 168.29, and we are making highs of 190.93, filling gaps that needed to be filled, right? We have definitely closed this gap at the 184, 186 range, which is not surprising for Tesla. Let me say that. It closed at 168.29. We have gapped to the upside, so there is going to be a gap that needs to be filled. keep that in mind. We are up a lot pre-market, and it's on some news that FSD news, I believe. But either way, I always say trade what you see. So right now, I don't have a read on Tesla outside of ride the wave. Just keep in mind, at some point, we're going to come back to this area, which is our area. I call that the consolidation or the gathering spot, and that's back at the 168, 169 range. Keep in mind, again, there's going to be a gap it's going to gap up today. So it seems there's a gap at 193 up to 193, and that was created from 125. So we could very well clear this gap to the upside. It wouldn't surprise me if Tesla came all the way up to 200, got rejected and came back down. But just keep in mind, y'all, trade what you see. Don't rush into your trades. Tesla is running up today on news, and it will come down at some point. It's just, making sure you're buying off of resistance or the rejection and not rushing into your trades, because, even though it's up so much pre-market, you can still make a decent profit if you're in at the right time and out at the right time. Let me say that. So let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is right here at the 20 EMA. It was at the 20 EMA as support. So that's a trouble place for us. We need to definitely watch this 873.53. We need to watch that area. And this is our 4 o'clock candle. It was at 885.88. So right now, NVIDIA is trading within that range, 885.88 all the way down to 873.53. That is our range of, I need to, if it breaks above this or below this, because it's under the 5, it's on top of the 5. Let me rephrase that. It's right at the 5 EMA. So that is our support area, which brings us to our resistance, which is at 885.24. So if it breaks above that, we can continue to the upside. Let's say that it needs to break above that level. And I did have this area here at 886.78 as a resistance level and 892.55 as a resistance level. So if we break where we are now, we can continue up. However, these candles are concerning for me for NVIDIA. Are we going to, come back to the downside? It's what I see. It's what I'm asking. Look, it's what I'm looking at. Let me say that, because, anything is possible, y'all. It'll change at any given moment. Just looking at it on this 4-hour chart, 874.40 is our support area. And again, we are riding the 5 above the 5 EMA on this 1-hour chart. So to the downside, the 867.10 is a support area. The 850.77 is another support area, which puts us right at the 50 EMA at 846.89. So if you trade NVIDIA, I will watch those levels to the downside and to the upside. Again, trade carefully. Allow your trades to come to you and do not rush into those trades. AMD is interesting as always, right? So this is our 4 o'clock candle. We came down, and this right at the 20 EMA, that was our support area. So that's at 157.52. Well, we broke that out of the gathering spot here at 158.03. So this is our breakout candle. This is the candle, if we were trading this is the one that we would want to enter the trade on. So right now, it looks as if AMD is broken through a level of resistance that I had marked at 158.78, and it has retested the 159.51. So it is given us a high of 159.70. I need to remember that level, because price came up to that level before. Even though it didn't close at that area, it came up to that area. So I need to watch that. So right now, AMD is kind of looks like it's trying to create another gathering spot for us. We are above the 5 EMA with this breakout. So it needs to stay above the 5 EMA and above this area of support, which is at the 158.78. It needs to stay above this. Otherwise, it's going to break a level of support and probably bring us back down to the 158.03 or the 157.50. If by chance it breaks this 157.52, we could very well come back and test this 50 EMA, which is kind of close to where this ATR trailing stop is at the 156.52. So I would be careful if I traded AMD. We have broken out of a gathering spot here, as you can see on the 30-minute chart, and it looks like it's creating again another gathering spot for us. And just looking at it on this 1-hour chart, it looks like we may have trouble at this one. If by chance we break through all of these levels, we very well may can come back up to the 162.78. So that's something to be mindful of, 162.78 to the upside, or our trouble place at 168.14 to the upside for AMD. Again, trade what you see, trade carefully. Those are areas that I will watch as resistance, and to the downside, the one under 154.79, and that's a strong area of, I always say the ATR trailing stop is the strong area of support and or resistance, because it, once I've seen it tested so many times and it bounced, and that's why I call it a very strong support and or resistance. So I would look at, if we break that 154.73, we could very well come all the way back down to this 149.37. So I would watch AMD very carefully. Again, it is creating a gathering spot for us now. It looks like it wants to go to the upside with this breakout, but again, AMD moves a little different for me. So it could come up, test this area, get rejected, and come back down. Don't rush into your trades. Allow your trade to come to you and trade what you see. Wait on other confirmations. I say that often, y'all. So Meta was interesting. You know, as you can see, we are just trading kind of like sideways. I always try to, again, to go to the 4 o'clock candle, and it seems like most of the candles are gathering in this place right here, and we've broken out of that area. So our support would have been at 438.92, resistance at 441.58. We are breaking out of that and under the 5 EMA. So that's something to be mindful of. Are we going to continue to the downside? So I had support marked at the 431, which is the low of this candle, 431.96 or 430.96. So if you trade Meta, those are some areas to the downside that I would be mindful of or careful with, because it can come back and retest this area here, which again is at the 430.96 down to the 421.97. Now to the upside, if by chance we break through and decide to go, you know, it decides to go to the upside, 449.85 and 454.16 are going to be trouble places for us, and 478.92 is the 200 EMA on this 1 hour chart. So if I traded Meta, I would watch the area of where it is now, and it needs to clear above, you know, this area, at least above this 20 EMA, 441.11. So it to the upside, it needs to break that trouble place. I call it trouble place because it's an area of resistance or support. Those are trouble places for us, and we need to make sure that we clear that area and get confirmation that it has cleared that area before we just jump into the trade. I need to say that again. Make sure you have confirmation as to why you're entering your trades before you enter the trade. So Meta right now, it looks like we're declining. We're breaking out of a gathering spot. So I would say trade carefully, trade cautiously if you trade Meta. So I'm going to go back to the SPY really quick. And again, we are still at the area 509.86 as our resistance, and our support is right here at 509.20. With Tesla, I say ride the wave. We just hit 192. I need to remember that because we could very well come back and retest that. That could be our rejection area, meaning, you know, our resistance area. Let me say that. So I would say if you trade Tesla, trade carefully today. It broke out of the gathering spot, you know, pretty soon as the market opened on some news. And again, what goes up eventually comes down. So you can ride the wave up and you can ride the wave down. So again, y'all, I hope these videos are very helpful. This is just what I see when I look at the market. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. I just like to piece things together and see, you know, find a good entry and find a good exit. And you know, a lot of people look at the market as, you know, this get rich quick. It's really not. You go in, and if you make small profits, I always say small profits equals big gains. That's something to think about, y'all. So have an awesome day today. I hope everyone have a very profitable day. Let's say that. So until next time, y'all, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.